Welcome to this Times Techies webinar. I am Sujit John and I have with me my colleague Akhil George. The two of us will moderate this discussion that we are having in partnership with Capgemini. Today we will discuss how tech can help India become a green energy hub. India is being positioned as a global green energy hub. Renewable energy capacity and green hydrogen production are in the spotlight and are attracting investments. Consumption patterns are expected to be disrupted by energy storage, and low-cost energy storage is expected to shift demand from traditional sources of fuels like coal to renewable energy. Technology is increasingly being leveraged for innovative storage solutions and smart energy devices and for decentralization of energy generation. Today, we will discuss these advances and the role India can play in them and on the skills that will be required in the space. To discuss this, we have three highly accomplished professionals. We have with us Dr. Sanjukta Subudhi. Sanjukta is a microbiologist and working as Senior Fellow and Associate Director of Microbial, Biofuels and Biochemicals at TERI, the Energy Resources Institute. She obtained a PhD in molecular biology from University of Delhi and pursued her postdoctoral research in algal biotechnology from National Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology in Bangkok. Dr. Subudhi worked as a faculty scientist at a prestigious institute in Bangkok until she joined TERI in 2008. She has over 100 research publications, conference papers, and proceedings to her name. Welcome, Sanjukta.
Good evening.
We also have Dr. Sanjay Kumar. Sanjay holds a doctorate in management and he is a professor and dean of faculty affairs at Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Petroleum Technology. He was previously the head of Department of Management Studies at the same institute. Prior to joining RGIPT, he worked at the School of Petroleum Management in PDPU, Gandhinagar, and in IIM Ahmedabad. He has close to 18 years of research and teaching experience. He has also published research papers in areas related to energy in a number of prestigious publications. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you. Thank you. I am pleased to be here.
We also have Bragadesh Damodaran. Bragadesh is the industry platform leader for energy transition and utilities at Capgemini in India. In this role, he is responsible for formulating industry-driven thought leadership, managing client relations, and collaborating with partners and alliances. He also has to build assets and solutions around energy and utilities, aligning to Capgemini's global energy and utility strategies. Prior to Capgemini, Bragadesh was part of the industry consulting and architect team at Accenture. He also drove CXO advisory for global energy and utility clients at IBM Consulting. Welcome, Bragadesh.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Those who are viewing this can send in questions through the Facebook comment box. Sujit and I will put them to Sanjukta, Sanjay, and Bragadesh. So why don't we jump in? The first question is open to all of you. How is India doing in terms of green energy currently? And how does it look like over the next decade? Sanjukta, do you wanna kick this off?
Yeah. Thank you. My pleasure to be a part of this esteemed forum. If you see, India has set its net zero goal, very ambitious target to achieve by 2070. So all of these green energy molecules, be it solar-based, be it bio-based, be it hydrothermal-based, be it all form of biomolecules or the green molecules are seen to play a very key role in achieving this net zero goal. So coming to the biofuel part are playing a very pivotal role in contributing significantly for reduction of these greenhouse gas emissions. Having said that, several of the programs are being rolled out by the nation, be it is biofuel blending program, be it is Satat program, be it is green hydrogen mission. Several of such missions are being rolled out by the country to achieve this net zero goal. So going forward, I would like to focus on how this ethanol blending program that was rolled out sometime in 2003, then eventually in 2018, this biofuel policy of India, which was launched in 2018, that has focused on enhancing the bioethanol production capacity in India and set the target of achieving to 20% blending by 2030. But when we say for rolling out of any policy that is straightaway linked with the enhancing the production capacity and diversification of the input raw material usage, technology development and all. So all these programs could enhance significantly in achieving this biofuel blending target over the year from 2000. In 2019, the blending percentage what India could achieve around 5%, that could significantly enhance to achieve the target to up to 15% by 2024, which is been foreseen. So there are several such schemes are being rolled out by the country, which are playing a very key role in achieving this clean energy, the greenhouse gas emission reduction target of the country.
Dr. Sanjukta, for novices like some of us here, I mean, can you tell us biofuels? I mean, this comes from biological waste and all of that, is it? Even our kitchen waste and things like that. How does it work? How does the technology work?
So the term, when you see the biofuel, it is the bio-based fuel. So it is the fuel form which is produced by using a small, tiny microorganisms which we cannot see otherwise in our naked eye. So those microorganisms are used as a cell factory or the host organism to produce this bio-based material. Having said that, mostly we target on production of the carbohydrate-based materials and convert to the fuel forms. So these fuel forms are very in different form, be it a liquid form, be it a gaseous form. And the other term is production of biofuel from bio-based resources. It could be produced through the thermochemical route. So this is the broad definition of a biofuel.
So these carbohydrates would be what?
Carbohydrate, when we say it, these are the organic fractions. We spent residue from the sugar industries like molasses, be it agriculture residue biomass from the forest residues, and all those of spent residue that we get from our agriculture like rice, sugarcane, bagasse, all those are crop residues. And also, if we see, there are several of starch processing and other organic fraction based we get as a spent liquid or solid residue from the industries. Those are actually as a very good raw material or input feed material for production of biofuel. When I say different forms of biofuel, then we have the host should be very specific. Having said that, if we target on production of a liquid biofuels like bioethanol, biobutanol, and then biomethane, biohydrogen, these are the gaseous in the liquid form, but the microorganisms are specific. These are the cell factory. Having said that, those organisms have a specific enzymes which we otherwise call as biocatalysts. So those biocatalysts essentially utilizing this input raw material. In fact, otherwise these raw materials are food for this microbe. So these microbes are doing nothing great, but they are feeding on those feed and converting to the form of fuels. But the essence of this process is that selecting very specific microbe. When I say specific microbe, high yielding microbe based on the input raw material and cost reduction. So there are multiple factors which are focusing on the commercialization of any bio-based product. One is process, one is capex, opex, and the input raw material cost. So all these factors are being driven by selecting the right type of microbe, and then domestication is very much essential. And then adoption, scaling up at pilot scale, then deployment at a higher technology readiness level, which is a very, very crucial factor over here. So if we see the recent policy, which is advocated, rolled out in 24th August 2024, Bio E3 policy, considering all these current challenges and the learnings, this policy is being rolled out. This will play a very significant role in deployment of a larger biofuel production technologies in integration with the co-production of high-value chemicals. So the term is becoming very important. Why the biorefinery? So one of the current challenges is the cost. So when I say cost, the cost is directly linked with the input raw material, process cost, capex cost, and so to address these challenges, it is very much essential to co-produce, which we otherwise call as a waste matter fractions from biofuel production process. Because one must look at how much output product we are producing in the form of biofuel versus the amount of raw material we are using, if I say by ethanol or so. There should be a proper mass balance. So if I am not able to extract 100% of input feed in the form of 100% of output product, then I cannot address in addressing the cost because there is some process cost. So that is why this concept of biorefinery came into the picture, so that one can definitely address in addressing these challenges by co-producing high-value bioproduct, biomaterial, or biochemicals along with the biofuel. So it happens that one can definitely help in offsetting the cost of biofuel with bioproduct. So this Bio E3 policy is will play a very pivotal role. What is happening when we discuss with the industries and academia, there is a transition challenge. What is happening? Academia normally focus the research at a technology readiness level scale, the term we say normally, at 4 or 5. When we discuss with the industries, of course, they will look at the commercial aspects of the any product or process. So they are not very keen to adopt any technology or process that is being developed by academia, which are not deployed or demonstrated at technology readiness level 7. So now moving from the TRL in the short term, 5 to 7 is a very, very crucial challenge. So there the policy is playing a very key role in creating the demand, popularizing the offtake of these products and setting the price and pushing the niche or domain-specific R&D. Having said that, if you see the biofuel, 1G bioethanol production could be...
We'll come to that a little. Let me just bring the others in. We'll speak more on that a little later. Sanjay, tell us, the same question.
Yeah. I would probably add a few points what Sanjukta ji was talking about. She spoke about one component, bioethanol. There is another component, biofuel in gaseous form, is the CBG, compressed biogas. And in terms of compressed biogas, as we all know that we largely depend on import of the import of methane, basically, which is CH4, natural gas, we call it. And 40 to 50% we depend on import through LNG. So government decided that with reference to that indigenous production and energy independence, or you can say that how do you reduce our dependence on external sources. So government decided that we will look at that domestic production of CBG, compressed biogas, which again comes from the same biological route, but in a different process altogether, right? So what raw material, you asked that what is the raw material over here? So raw material over here is again agri-wastage. Agriculture wastage, where we are looking at the burning of the paddy as well as rice straw. Rice straw generally is burnt, but paddy straw is not burnt. It is used as a fodder. So in states like Punjab or wheat dominating states, that output, which is agri waste, so-called agri waste, is actually not agri waste. So that is utilized for fodder. So it commands reasonably decent price. So farmers are not willing to sell that for production of CBG, or even for that matter, even ethanol, right? So what government thought that, can we use the rice straw in the rice dominating states, where we can collect the rice straw and use that vegetable product into wealth? That's the energy. CVG came into kind of a force, and government decided that we'll set off around 5,000 CVG plants across the country. So which is a huge task, but it's not possible that we cannot do it. Yes, we can do it. So far, lot of interest generated by these PSUs, basically like IOCL, BPCL, HPCL, they were assigned that, okay, if you can channelize this and we can have decent amount of production of CBG in the country. So what actually challenges the country face, that it's not about the technology to produce CBG, rather the supply chain become very, very challenging, because all these agri-waste are in decentralized locations. They are not centralized. So gathering, collecting, taking that into the production site is really costly affairs, but it can be channelized, reduce, the cost can be reduced. As our audience also know that agriculture is a subject matter of the state, right? But energy is kind of a subject matter of the central government. So here comes the coordination. Some states are far more willing to help, and some states are struggling to find out the way where such kind of mechanism can be evolved, so that that agri waste is really converted into output, which is a compressed biogas. And again, the compressed biogas, which is produced in decentralized locations, either can be connected with the existing pipeline or can be supplied to the nearest gas station where the injection can happen and it can be sold. So that was one way where government thought that we have something indigenous, green, as well as it is going to really help the local economy. Farmers will have additional income out of this so-called waste product. Okay, so that was one more which is related to what Sanjukta ji was talking about, that biofuel, but here it is in the gaseous form. One more which I would probably bring into your notice, that the biodiesel. Biodiesel part was actually long back looked at producing from neem, jatropha, and you would recall that government said that railway has a lot of land that if that can be capitalized. Somehow that couldn't happen. But biodiesel has taken some step right now, but ethanol is ahead. So if you look at the ethanol production, India is almost producing 9 billion liters of ethanol from bagasia root, or from the sugarcane molasses, right? And the other rice grain root is almost half of that. So rice grain or any other food grain which is FCI is having waste grain, that can be converted into ethanol. So that is government has taken progressive steps that we can become indigenous, so self-dependent on energy front. CVG, biodiesel, and biofuel, or bioethanol, all three are taking shape in the country. In addition to that, you all know that how we have progressed in terms of solar and wind. I just briefly will talk about that, because if you go back and see that around 2000, India was not in top 10 producers of, even 10 producers of wind and solar. But then over last 25 years, progressive policies as well as kind of a conscious effort made by various policymakers, government, as well as the agencies, companies, to bring forward the possibilities of alternative sources of energy. Now we are one of the largest or top 5 producers of solar. So also we are in the wind, also we are doing decent job. Wind is relatively stagnant now compared to what we had 10 years back. But most of the policies are right now oriented towards solar, because the cost of solar has gone down to such a level that it's really competing with the other coal-based electricity also. That is why solar is really prospering well across states, and most of states have their own policy for solar in addition to the central government policy. So we are fairly doing well in terms of rooftop as well as large scale solar plants, which comes through the solar parks.
Okay. Okay. Hydrogen also, is it?
Yeah,
Is that
hydrogen part, again, we are coming to the hydrogen part, because if you look at the hydrogen mission Sanjukta ji was talking about, you would recall that we had a hydrogen roadmap earlier, which was supposed to be realized by 2017. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Even globally, hydrogen was falling behind. But 2020 onwards, gradually hydrogen across the globe got some momentum, especially countries like Australia, South Korea, Japan. They are leading because these Japan and South Korea, they don't have much of resources. They are looking for alternative sources, alternative destinations to have hydrogen. And hydrogen transportation is a big deal. So that is why you look at the green ammonia is actually taking up safe. Even in India, a lot of green ammonia plants with help of Japan, because Japan is one of the largest potential importer of green ammonia. Ammonia is stable molecule for transport, whereas hydrogen is not that stable molecule for transport. So that green hydrogen mission, in later stage we will discuss about the investment, other issues probably.
Okay.
But at this point in time, I would say that yes, green hydrogen is coming up thick and fast, and we are really speeding off the processes so that we can globally compete, not only to supply our domestic demand, meet our domestic demand, but also meet the demand of our neighboring countries like Korea, Japan, even some of the European countries. So we'll come back to that point at a later stage.
Okay.
Yeah, to add on to this, yes, India has also set its ambitious target of producing green hydrogen under this rolling out of this green hydrogen mission. This mission aims at producing at least 5 million metric ton of green hydrogen by per annum, though it has a potential going forward to produce 10 million metric ton of green hydrogen. So
Okay.
green hydrogen, the term basically involves hydrogen production currently from water through the photolysis route, the electrolysis route, and biomass to hydrogen. Then there are several pathways how biomass can be used for hydrogen production, again through the gasification or bio-based fermentation route.
Okay. Yeah, Bragadesh, go ahead. I mean, same question to you.
Yeah, I would say that India has made significant strides in the green energy sector. And if you look at the past decade, we have been emerging as one of the world's largest market for renewable energy. So if we talk about installed renewable energy capacity, so as of 2024, India's installed renewable energy capacity is over 180 gigawatts, which includes your solar, wind, hydro, and biomass, which we spoke about. And solar and wind energy are the dominant sources, with solar power reaching around 70 gigawatts and wind power contributing to over 40 gigawatts. So this makes India the fourth largest country globally in terms of renewable energy capacity. And the other area which I want to focus on is on the government initiative. So the government has launched several key initiatives to promote your green energy, such as your National Solar Mission, your National Wind Energy Mission, and India also has set an ambitious target of achieving 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030, including 280 gigawatts from solar and 140 gigawatts from wind. And the other area which I would say is leading us is on the international commitment. So India is committed to reducing its carbon emission intensity by around 33 to 35% from 2005 levels by 2030, and to achieve 50% of its total energy requirements from renewable sources by 2030. So these commitments actually align with our India's pledge under the Paris Agreement. So it's a broader goal to achieve our net zero emissions by 2070. And there has been substantial increase in investments in the renewable energy sector, both from domestic and international sources. So major Indian companies, including Reliance, Tata, Adani Group, are heavily investing in renewable energy projects, particularly in solar and wind. And the government is also working on improving access to green financing through instruments like the green bonds. So at the moment, we are looking great, and the projections for the next decade, which is on capacity expansion, expected to significantly ramp up the renewable energy capacity in the coming decade. And the country aims to have almost like 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity, making it a substantial portion of the energy mix. And solar and wind energy will continue to dominate significantly. And the investments expected in the solar scale parks, the wind farms, and the hybrid projects combining both and solar is going to be significant. And the other focus is on the energy storage solution. So your integration of renewable energy with your energy storage solutions will play a critical focus area as India increases its renewable energy capacity. So its need for reliable, scalable storage solutions, such as your advanced batteries and pumped hydro storage, will grow significantly. And this will help in balancing your supply-demand fluctuations, and also focusing on green hydrogen, which we touched upon. So green hydrogen is poised to become a key component for our India's energy strategy. So the National Hydrogen Mission, which likely to drive significant growth for us in green hydrogen production, which can be used for industrial applications, transportations, or your energy storage. So by 2030, I would say India could become one of the largest producers and consumers of green hydrogen, further reducing its reliance on fossil fuels. And decentralizing the renewable energy. So that's an expansion of decentralized renewable energy systems like your rooftop solar, microgrids, community solar projects, which is expected to play a crucial role in India's energy transition. So these systems will provide energy access to both remote, rural areas, and also reduce the transmission losses, empowering both our local communities. And our continued focus on policy and regulatory support will be crucial for our green energy transition. And the government is expected to introduce more incentives, subsidies, and favorable policies to attract investments and encourage innovation in order to ensure a stable regulatory environment for us. And this also would include promoting domestic manufacturing of your renewable energy equipments, which could help in developing a skilled workforce. And our global leadership is poised in the commitment to green energy, positioning as a leader in the global energy transition. And our country is likely to play a pivotal role in shaping the international energy market, particularly in areas of green hydrogen, solar manufacturing, and renewable energy technology exports. So this is what I want to
No, really good to hear that. We're making so much progress. Sanjukta, tell us, I mean, what kind of R&D is happening in this space? Give us an idea of the kind of work that you might be doing in TERI and all of that.
Yeah, I will connect all this Satat program and 2G ethanol and all. How the learnings are helping in further advancing this R&D. For instance, the amendment of biofuel policy, national biofuel policy, which is which was rolled out in 2022 for diversification of input feed. When we say diversification, means that policy included for use of this agri-based lignocellulose biomass. So the challenge over here is the conversion of this biomass to the ethanol. That includes one more additional step. Having said that, in the lignocellulose biomass, these cellulose and hemicellulose, the carbohydrate fractions, are tightly bind with the lignin. So one needs to delignify the biomass to recover this carbohydrate fraction so that these microbes can use this feed. So the challenge was to develop a low-cost technology for conversion of this biomass to these fermentable sugars, so that can be used for bioethanol production. So the cost factor comes into the scenario, because the cost then varies if you compare for the 1G ethanol production with the 2G ethanol production. So, and the point that I have mentioned initially is the mass balance, input versus output. So if we see around 25 to 30% of this biomass is the lignin, which was otherwise wasted. And to address this cost challenge of production of 2G ethanol, so specific focused R&Ds are being deployed to recover these lignin-based fractions to produce some co-products of high value. So that can drive for downstream application, whether it is in pharma or in any form. So that is how one biorefinery, 2G biorefinery concept came into the picture. So 12 2G biorefinery plants are being planned to commission, out of which one is already completed. This is 2G bioethanol plant commissioned by Indian Oil Corporation Limited. And that plant capacity is to produce around 1,000 kiloliter of ethanol, 2G ethanol. So another technology is focused is the development of an indigenous technology for enzymes, which are normally used for conversion of these complex sugars to simple sugars. So this has also creating employment opportunities. And the one most foremost challenge is lack of adequate experienced domain-specific human resources. So these R&D activities and their deployment at a larger scale or a demonstration scale, when I say tier 7 and 8, could also help in creating a very niche area specific experienced human resources, so that they are the actually workforce who can help in um, driving this biofuel segment. Coming to the Satat plant, like Sachin has mentioned, Satat is the biogas, a compressed biogas. This scheme is aiming at for commissioning of 5,000 compressed biogas plants. But as of now, only 72 biogas plants have been commissioned. The learning, the challenge is that, like I mentioned, this biomass conversion to uh, a, a type of input material, so that the microbes can feed on that and convert to the gas. So what is happening? Per ton of gas production, we are getting around 5 to 5.6, 5.9 fold higher volume of fermented organic manure, or we call it spent slurry. So now the offtake of gas is being could be enhanced through different implementation of different policies. But offtake of FOM, we call it fermented organic manure, is becoming a very challenge. So the research is now going on. I mean, the latest R&D is being focused to customize this FOM and create awareness why there is a dire need for using this FOM as a biofertilizer. Now, what is happening? Currently, the synthetic fertilizers are being used greatly. So I would like to just highlight a very interesting point over here. The synthetic fertilizers are mostly urea-based. So urea is produced using currently gray hydrogen. So that is already linked with emission of several enormous amount of CO2. Again, there are 8 to 9 fold higher CO2 emission for 1 volume of hydrogen produced. So if we can use FOM in a customized form, which is very essential to implement or augment in the soil to enhance the carbon fractions of the soil. So the farmers are not very much convinced. So there is an active awareness program is required to convince that farmers that this FOM is actually required to use as a biomanure, biofertilizer, and to enhance these carbon fractions. To do that, it is very much essential to incentivize the farmers also. So a customized bioformulation using this FOM is one of the key area for the CBG plant. Coming to the other area, this biogas essentially means production of biomethane. It comes along with the CO2. So now even biogenic CO2 is also one of the very important point to go the entire segment to the completely green. So then CO2 scrubbing from methane and use of CO2, biogenic CO2 captured, and that is being driven for use of high value biocommodities or products, and then find application differences. So these are the co-product development process is one of the key deployment of technologies. Going forward, when we say the net zero, then shipping sector, aviation sector, they also need to adopt for usage of this green energy forms. So now biofuels, when we say essentially, we understand this bioethanol. So now bioethanol is being increasingly seen to produce for a biojet fuel through alcohol to jet. So I will bring in one more point. Normally, ASTM is the global certifying body who certifies for the use of biomolecule for any fuel in the aviation sector. So there are currently 7 pathways how this biojet fuel can be produced. But ASTM has certified this HEPA pathway, which is the oil-based, which is basically using this biodiesel or oil-based fractions. But there is a constant for the input feed material. So everything are very much interlinked. Availability of the feed and use of the diverse feed for production of this biofuel. Because when a plant is commissioned, the plant should run 24/7. When we discuss with the industries, they don't want their plant to stay idle, because operation process and all those are one of the important factors which are driving the enhancing the cost of this process. And so other pathways are being explored. So when you ask this, what are the new R&Ds? So new biofuel molecules for alcohol to jet pathway. So now currently, because 2G ethanol price is high, so 2G ethanol is being foreseen to use or divert towards production of biojet fuel, because one can address the cost by producing a molecule that has a high cost in the market. So that is why this alcohol to jet pathway is one of the key R&D activities. Similarly, other biofuel molecules are being actively explored to use as a biojet fuel precursor.
Okay, when do you think that will happen?
Yeah.
When do you think that will happen?
Already happening. IOCL has already signed an agreement with LanzaTech, and other biofuel molecules are already being active because biofuels are already being produced. Then the other pathway is the conversion of these biofuel molecules to biojet fuel. So going forward, India foresees to advocate or to roll out for 1% blending of SAF in aviation fuel, though it is not mandatory now. So because these all will be driven to roll out a policy, this is again linked with the availability of the technological maturity, and the availability of different raw materials. So for any process to roll out, it is very much essential that this process should be adaptable to use multiple feedstock. And then the shipping sector. So shipping sector, if you see, currently
we will come back a little later to that. But just a quick one. I mean, since Bragadesh and Sanjay are all saying solar and wind are the really big ones. When will biofuels reach that level? It's nowhere close to reaching that level of creating renewable energy, is it?
So if you see, carry on.
Yeah, Sanjay.
Yeah, what I look at is that we are not looking at which one going to be bigger. We are looking at how diversified is our resources and indigenous resources helping each other. So we may not look at that way that wind is bigger or solar is bigger. Ultimately,
since we have so much agricultural waste and all of that, isn't that a big opportunity or not?
Yeah, big opportunity, but as I was discussing with you, there are plenty of challenges associated with biofuel. I'm going back to the technology aspect, what Sanjukta ji and you were also referring earlier. The problem here, when we look at the raw material, the lignin content, which is considered to be not very useful from energy point of view, but lignin has use in other industries, like you can have nanocarbon, nanotube, a lot of things can be produced. So on one technological aspect, I would like to tell you that our team also is working here. The raw material in different part of this country is different. Let's say Chennai. So our the southern part of the country, they have those coconut. So the coconut fibers are also used as a raw material for biofuel production, and lignin produced from that coconut fiber has high productivity, and that can be utilized as a nanotube or nanofiber. So our team is working on its industry-sponsored project by CPCL. We are working on that, how to use value-added products, biofuel plus value-added products. So that is going on. Similarly, when you look at UP, you have both rice straw as well as wheat straw. So that lignin again where to sell. That lignin has a market, so it has to be explored. You have biofuel plus lignin, which is like she was referring that in case of ethanol production also, you have a byproduct, that biofertilizer. So biofertilizer has a strong linkage with our urea import. So if we increase the biofertilizer use, urea import will go down. Or for that matter, we are importing green ammonia. If we are importing ammonia, now it's being replaced by green ammonia. So we'll look at that little later. Also, fertilizer industry, we had a discussion with the fertilizer industry. They had some difficulty of using green ammonia. Sanjukta was talking about that carbon dioxide is a problem. So we discovered that for a fertilizer plant, carbon dioxide is needed for production of urea, right? So for them, if they are producing green hydrogen, then where will they get carbon dioxide? So they will have shortage of carbon dioxide. Where do they buy carbon dioxide? So in one place, carbon dioxide is a problem. In another industry, carbon dioxide is actually really desired and wanted product. So for a plant like, let's say, coal-based power plants, so carbon dioxide is a serious problem, right, for the environment. For fertilizer plant, it is the most desired product. Hydrogen, anyway, they are producing from natural gas, is not as polluting as that, but carbon dioxide is the need. So similar problems exist in different industries. So biofuel, essentially, we are not looking at that whether it will reach a bigger stage, but at least whatever potential we have, if we can utilize 30% of that potential, it will supplement the conventional energy sources. Our import dependency will go down. So we should look at that way, CBG, ethanol, or biodiesel, complementing the other sources of energy, rather than saying is that, okay, one would lead, other would follow. That would be my take on this.
Right. Bragadesh, maybe you can help us understand what about these emerging technologies, AI, blockchain, IoT solutions. Where do they fit into the whole green transition?
So I would say, see, if you talk about decentralization of your energy generation, where energy production is distributed across various small.
Is that important? Maybe our audience would like to know. Is that very useful? Decentralized
I think what
power
Sanjay
generation?
was saying, Sanjay was saying it's all different areas, some of these different products that are available and all of that. Yeah.
So that's the advantage. Okay.
That
Right.
Go ahead, Bragadesh.
Yeah. So if you look in a populous country like India, so some of these technologies which you had highlighted, right, not only contribute to a more resilient and efficient energy ecosystem, but also it provides a tangible benefit to the communities across the country. So some specific ones like your AI, IoT, blockchain. If you talk about AI, predictive analytics. So AI algorithms which analyze your vast amounts of data coming from decentralized energy sources, which is your solar panels, wind turbines, and which could predict your energy production, optimize performance, and also manage your maintenance schedule. So these increases the efficiency and reliability of your distributed energy resources. And if you talk about demand response management, so AI helps balance the supply and demand by predicting what is your energy usage patterns and automating your energy distribution. So this is particularly important in a decentralized grid where energy generation and consumption are more variable. And if you talk about optimization of energy flows, so AI optimizes the flow of energy across your decentralized networks. So it ensures that surplus energy from one area can be redirected to where it's needed. And it also reducing the waste and improving the overall grid efficiency. If you talk about IoT, okay, so real-time monitoring. So IoT devices equipped with sensors monitor the performance of your decentralized energy systems in real time. And this data is used to optimize your energy production, detect any kind of faults, and ensure that each component operates at a peak efficiency. And if you look at IoT in smart grids, it plays a crucial role in development of smart grids, where various energy generation and consumption points are interconnected, and managing them at real time and allows a better integration of your renewable energy sources and enhances your grid resilience. And if you talk about energy management systems, your IoT devices in homes and businesses can automatically start adjust energy consumptions based on your real-time data from grid, and also ensuring what is the optimal usage of the energy and contributing to your demand side management. And you talk about one more key technology, which is blockchain. And if you talk about peer-to-peer energy trading, right? So blockchain technology enables your, how do you do it more secure, transparent, and a decentralized P2P energy trading platforms, where a consumer can trade surplus energy directly with others in their community. And also this also ensures energy access and allows for more efficient use of your locally generated renewable energy, like your rooftop solar and the other ones. And if you talk about smart contracts, right? And this technology based smart contracts can automate your transaction in the energy markets. And this also ensures your payments and energy transfers, which could happen seamlessly when predefined conditions are set for it. And the reduced transaction cost and increased trust actually enables your decentralized energy system. Yeah, and blockchain also enables your energy certificates, improves your carbon credit, right? Can be used to track and verify what is a renewable energy generation which has happened and what is the associated carbon credits, which makes it easier to trade. And also this credits in global markets and incentivized decentralized energy generation. And some other areas on your storage technologies, if you talk about battery storage systems, where advanced storage technologies, including your lithium and flow battery, which allows decentralized energy system to store excess energy generated from renewable sources. And this stored energy can be used during periods of low generation, improving your reliability and also reducing dependency on the central grid. And this also contributes to your distributed storage networks, right? So these centralized units, for example, is managed by smart systems, which can be aggregated to act as your virtual power plant and providing a backup power during your peak demand or grid outages, which is particularly very valuable in a country like us with varied energy needs. And there's also a combination of the technology which could help you on the microgrids and the nanogrids. So, because if you talk about microgrids, small scale power grids that can operate independently in conjunction with your main grid, and it's completely integrated with advanced softwares linked to AI, IoT, and blockchain. So these systems that local energy needs could be met efficiently and also even in remote areas. And if you talk about newer areas, right, the smaller nanogrids, smaller microgrids called nanogrids, and they serve your individual buildings or small community per se. So this all relies on your IoT and AI for management and making them ideal for your decentralized energy in a country like us. And some of the benefits you could see from the smart meters and distributed energy resources, right? So smart meter provides your real-time data on energy consumption and production to every household and business level. And this data in combination with AI and IoT could manage your decentralized energy generation and enable dynamic pricing models that could encourage your efficient energy usage. And on your distributed energy resources, which I touched upon, and some of these technologies could help in integrating your rooftop solar panels with your grid, ensuring that locally generated energy is used efficiently and any surplus is fed back to the grid, benefiting both the individual and the broader community. So these are some of the benefits I see from
all of these are already available. I mean, how robust are these technologies?
So some of them at a very small scale is currently available. Some are being piloted at the moment. We see some success stories in some states where they've piloted it, and we are trying to replicate that particular successes into the other areas, Sujit.
Or even globally, these are kind of decent
Globally,
areas, huh?
absolutely. Globally it is. And some of the learnings we are trying to inculcate across what has been successful in one particular region, how can we incorporate aligning to the locals' regulatory requirements?
Okay,
So,
okay.
Yes,
I would
Sujit,
like
can
to
you?
add one point over
Okay.
here related to application of AI in biofuel sector. Biofuel, the process is greatly driven by multiple factors, the process parameters, environmental parameters. So what is happening? So all these parameters or the factors are playing a key role in an intricate manner. So excessive analysis of data is required, which is being currently done manually. So AI can play a key role in analyzing those extensive data, so that that can help in reducing the manual watching of these bioprocesses, and that can help in enhancing the process efficiency. There, I also see a great opportunity
Okay.
to link
Yeah,
AI.
interesting. Yeah, even
and
Gen AI and all people are
Yes.
saying can be very useful in this kind of research and all that. Sanjay, were you saying something?
I just wanted to come in on one front. Pragdesh covered a lot of on the demand supply side, but I was just looking at that how AI is very useful in production sites. For example, we looked at application of AI in refineries where preventive maintenance is very useful because you can't afford to shut down. So it has to be kind of a preventive maintenance, and AI is being utilized to reduce that maintenance cost and detecting that which machine is going to malfunction at what point in time. So if it can be predicted, then necessary care can be taken at right point in time. So if you take that forward to one industry, we were referring the hydrogen, the electrolyzers. So electrolyzers are key part of the production of hydrogen. So maintenance of electrolyzers are very critical part of survival of the plant. So efficiency of electrolyzers can be through the AI can be predicted, maybe preventive maintenance can be done. That would certainly come handy in due course of time in next couple of years' time, because we are looking at a horizon of 2030 where the plants, most of the plants would start functioning. Maybe by 2035, 40, you will have that these plants will have some difficulty, and that preventive maintenance through AI can be managed.
Okay.
One more area we probably did not touch upon is the offshore wind. So we missed out when you spoke about offshore wind. India having a huge coastal line, offshore has high potential, but the cost is the big concern. Except UK, probably no other country has that kind of experimentation with offshore. We have started pilot projects in Gujarat that if it comes through, government has already pushed through offshore wind policy, and if cost comes down, it will also supplement. And you can look at that offshore wind turbines through AI preventive maintenance that would come handy. So also the cables which is underneath the surface, the sea pipeline protection
So these
maintenance.
are in the sea, is it?
Yeah,
These are
yeah,
big,
yeah. So all
uh-huh.
those areas, probably the artificial intelligence and all other technology which Bragadesh has the expertise highlighted would be very, very useful. Some cases they are already at implementation stage, but of course in hydrogen or biofuel, other kind of plants or refinery which are coming up relatively new, but some point in time those technologies would be extremely helpful.
Anything on storage devices, Sanjay, Sanjukta, that you want to talk about?
Storage devices, if you look at battery storage, we are looking at even hydrogen storage. So the ideally, if you can have hydrogen storage, that's the most brilliant idea to happen, but that's the most difficult one considering the nature of hydrogen molecule. So we are relatively comfortable with the liquid storage or natural gas storage, but hydrogen storage is far away. There are standards, US is making standards, but we are not able to reach those standards even at a global level. So at India, the storage really is one area which we need to be discussing, but we are far more comfortable with battery storage. But then lithium ion battery, and lithium is not available in our domestic market. So you have to rely on importing lithium. So finally, we end up importing resources, whether it's a crude oil or lithium or battery. But if you can have indigenous resources, like a lot of research is happening on sodium ion or recently zinc ion. So if those kind of technologies can indigenously develop, sodium is plentifully available in our country. If sodium ion battery comes in, and I think nobody will beat us, we'll be at the top of the world.
Sanjay, Bragadesh, both of you mentioned green hydrogen and how big India is going to be in that. What's the potential like? Are we going to be the Saudi Arabia of green
Uh,
hydrogen? Can we be that obscenely
I'll,
rich?
I'll come to that point. Again, I will not draw that comparison whether we will be Saudi Arabia, but we will be India. Right. And the world would look at that India is having a potential, and already you see that 4 years back when I started to understand what is hydrogen, suddenly I realized that we are far behind the other countries. And Japan was looking to Australia, Japan was going to all over the world. But suddenly you see that two of the projects in India, one in Gopalpur, Tata Economic Zone, and another in Tuticorin, already funded or supported by Japan. Uptake is already assured. So 1 million ton and 1.2 million ton capacity of green ammonia being supported by Japanese, right? So they are looking outside Eastern Zone, right? So right now they're coming back to Asia Pacific, and India is one of the destinations. India will certainly emerge in terms of hydrogen because we produce cheapest solar in the world, right? And that is key for us. If we are adding 500 megawatt later on, you take a conversion rate of 20% or 25%. Right now, average is 20%. So that means we will have fairly decent amount of surplus green energy to feed into our electrolyzer. But remember one thing in electrolyzer business, which is kind of a water energy nexus.
Please continue.
Yeah, we can hear you, Sanjay.
water energy nexus, and which is going to be a big problem for us because we require clean water for production of hydrogen, right? And that is a scarce resource in most part of this country. So therefore, research is going on how to produce hydrogen from saline water, because we have coastal lands and most of the big refineries are on the coast. For them, producing green hydrogen is a big challenge because they do not have water which is pure kind of a fresh water. So they are looking at a solution where we can produce green hydrogen directly from the salty water. So that technology, some of the institutes are working, including ours also, funded by DST and some of the refineries. We are working on how to produce green hydrogen from salty water. So in that case, fresh water is not a problem. So technology point of view, we are going to make some breakthroughs. And if you make some breakthroughs, if salt and sodium ion, and then you produce water which can be utilized for your green hydrogen. Certainly, I will not put whether we'll be comparable to Saudi Arabia, Oman, or Qatar in that terms, but yes, we will be one of the prominent destination for importers of green ammonia, because hydrogen import is relatively challenging one, but ammonia molecule is much stabler, but ammonia is corrosive in nature. So those things need to be kept in mind. Again, I think IoT, other technologies would come in when we talk about corrosion. Pipeline, again, when we are blending hydrogen into our pipeline, if we can blend 10% of hydrogen into our gas pipeline, then load on the gas requirement will go down, import on gas will go down. So we'll continue to emerge as one of the top markets in the world. And 10 million ton is not far away. If you look at the lot of states, at least 5 states have developed their hydrogen policy, and central government is pushing. They have identified 10 states, most of the coastal states, at least 7 coastal states. Other states like Rajasthan are there in the picture. And you see that we are going to emerge one of the top contenders for export as well as meeting our domestic demand.
Very good. Sanjukta, you wanted to say something quick?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, so coming to the hydrogen storage, I'll just briefly touch it because there is a great challenge. If you see the volume versus weight, 11,400 liter of hydrogen at atmospheric temperature and pressure equals to 1 kg. So one needs to compress at that scale and develop some high pressure resisting storage vessels. So one of the key factors that are also being foreseen to store hydrogen in the form of chemicals, and at the time of requirement that can be converted to the hydrogen, like formic acid and ammonia at the other part. Coming to the hydrogen, green hydrogen, this green hydrogen basket also includes this biohydrogen, like I mentioned, because considering all the challenges in the input requirement, so this basket should include multiple form of this green hydrogen molecule, having said the biohydrogen. The way it is produced, the other biofuel molecules like biogas from biomass, so biohydrogen can also be produced, are also technologies are already being deployed at TRL scale 6 at TERI. And IIC Bangalore is also developing a technology in coordination with IOCL from biomass gasification to hydrogen. Because considering these water security issues, one should focus on use of diverse input raw materials so that the challenge should not be there. If you see, 1 kg of hydrogen production requires 10 volume of higher water. So 8 to 9 volume goes in the form of oxygen. Of course, that makes this atmosphere green. But the input raw material, that also we use double distilled water. So if I need 10 kg, then I need input water, 20 kg water to get it into the 50% of clean double distilled water to produce hydrogen. So there are different challenges, but going forward, technologies are being developed and deployed. And the point that is mentioned for the green hydrogen technology for Japan has launched this Forum of Research and Development 20. This framework was essentially launched in 2019 to address these technologies for green hydrogen. Eventually, it is focusing on the clean energy technology development. So there are the experts from G20 countries have joined and created a forum. We call it Research and Development 20 Forum. So this forum is looking at identifying the current challenges, including for the green hydrogen, So current one active task force is being created between the G20 countries, where TERI is representing India in this RT20 framework. So detailed analysis, things are being discussed and in an interactive manner to deploy hydrogen for production at a gigaton scale. So technologies are being developed continuously, and this can happen only through the collaborative network between the countries, experts, industry, academia at a global platform. So this year, these 5 episodes of this RD20 International Conference is being already conducted. So 6th Research and Development 20 International Conference this year, TERI is planning. TERI will be hosting during 2nd to 6th of December at India. So this will give a very great opportunity for the industry and academia to interact with the experts from the G20 countries at a global platform and jointly discuss and learn what are the technologies and take this technology forward for commercialization at a through collaborative network. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, Akhil, we're almost out of time. Yeah.
The other two can maybe add on the skills required for all of these. Where should young people really focus on? What subject should they focus on if they want to get into green energy?
One quick point I would like to highlight here. As you see that development of this niche or domain-specific technologies, we require very experienced domain-specific human resources. So this Bio E3 policy, which actually is being rolled out, which is focusing on establishment of biomanufacturing hub. So this hub will definitely contribute greatly for creation of the domain-specific human resources, who are the key in deployment of technologies. When we say this biofuel, then there are different processes for upstream and downstream, which we require very good skilled, technically skilled human resources. So this biomanufacturing hub, which is
this will be what kind of engineering and all should they do?
So this is mostly the integration. Very rightly raised this query, because in the biofuel we were basically looking at for recruitment of researchers who have expertise in microbiology and biofuel production process. Going forward, we understood that there is a dire need for integrating this with the chemical engineering, which we call biochemical engineering, bioprocess engineering. So the person, the human resources, the specific human resource development in this bioprocess engineering and biochemical engineering integrated with upstream biofuel production and the microbiology, they are the key workforce who can greatly contribute for taking these technologies forward. And of course, collaboration with industries in the industry academia board. So just to give a gist, a specific center of excellence is being established at TERI in collaboration with Tata Chemicals. So this center is essentially aiming at addressing all these challenges and development of technologies for biofuel and biochemical production, and its development at technology readiness level 7. So this is essentially actually helping us to how to address all these challenges. Okay. This is required at a national level, and the active participation of industries and academia is very much essential to address these challenges and take it towards commercialization path.
That's Sanjay, you have a lot of students in your university, your institute.
Yeah.
So tell us, give us an idea, Sanjay, what kind of...
Yeah, quickly I will look at two elements into that entire hydrocarbon, the value chain, where we have already trained manpower, but the renewable energy value chain is slightly, largely you can say different, because each kind of renewable energy has a different value chain. And if you talk about the emerging fuel, which is hydrogen, you have a green hydrogen coming through a different route compared to blue hydrogen or gray hydrogen coming from the hydrocarbon route. So for that route, you have different skill set. But let's talk about the green hydrogen value chain. We need people at bottom of the operation, plant operation, as well as mechanical engineering understanding. So also, like she was talking about the chemical operations, they should have understanding of that. And also you need people having understanding of chemistry, because catalyst development is very important part of the whole game. And you can see that's an integration kind of approach, holistic approach. It's not that only one domain will serve the purpose. Probably you need people across the value chain. Mechanical guys would be useful, chemical would be useful, and then end of the day you produce and you have to market, and you need to have funding. So guys having expertise of fundraising, all those things, all those skills are required. And most importantly, one area generally remains untouched is the safety. And probably for biofuel or other cases, we can say, okay, we can manage, we have experience, but for hydrogen, safety is the utmost importance. Therefore, at least certified manager programs for the working professional can be organized immediately, and then subsequently we can have those engineering programs with add-on specializations. These guys can go on work in the industry. They should be industry ready, and industry should come forward, should have pilot plans so that students are exposed to such kind of operations. They are not foreigners when they join the company. So it's kind of a co-learning, co-growing, and helping each other to grow, rather than it's not the academics job or the industry job. It's job of the country, nation, so that we march ahead of others. We should not be left behind, and we should be marching ahead with the pride and kind of resources we have. We are certainly at the top of the world if we are able to utilize those resources, whether we talk about human resources or natural resources. Our Prime Minister used to say that the dividend, which is the population we have at that age group, probably that dividend would be available to us for next 10-15 years. Beyond that, almost everybody will be out of that race.
Very
So
true.
with that, yeah, with that, I think our diploma engineers at certain level would be able to supplement the degree engineers, and then the professional courses and degree courses certified by the industry, and some kind of like there are hydrocarbon sector skills council and other skill councils also. They're giving training for fitters, operators. So those kind of skills are also required. But yes, some companies started giving such kind of trainings.
Absolutely.
That would
Okay,
be
variety of skills required at different levels. Rakesh, I know we are beyond time, so I mean, you can give us the concluding things. I mean, on skills, and of course, you said the whole grid system, everything is becoming digitized as well. So I guess there's also cybersecurity skills and all that is becoming important. Tell us, I mean,
Absolutely.
on skills and cybersecurity.
See, some of the key areas, if you talk about, India's green technology sector is already attracting a lot of significant investments, which is favorable policies, your cost competitiveness, a large market, and the technology advancements, which we touched upon. And some key areas which we definitely need to look on is how do we manage the infrastructure, right? So that is a key component to it. And how do we safeguard it? So if you look at the digitization and decentralization, some of our energy assets, which significantly increases the risk of cyber threats, posing serious challenges to energy security. And our sector becomes more reliant on digital technologies. The potential impact of cyber attacks growing, and it's not only affects your stability of energy system, but also a broader national security and economic stability. So some key impacts which we need to focus on is on grid disruption. So it can cause a widespread blackouts, touching some of our key infrastructure in hospitals, transportation systems, and leading to economic losses, public safety losses, damage to your physical infrastructure, data breach and theft. So because energy assets become more digitized, they generate vast amount of data, which is including your operational data, customer information, and sensitive control parameters. So cyber attacks could lead to data breaches, resulting in theft of this critical information, and also some of the compromise of decentralized systems, right? So decentralized energy systems, such as your microgrids, distributed energy resources, particularly, which are vulnerable to your cyber attacks, and which could be dispersed via nature or reliant on any interconnected digital networks. And it's also a national security risk. So So some areas which we could focus on is on bringing in a robust cybersecurity framework. So implementing a comprehensive cybersecurity framework that aligns with the international standards. Like we have the NIST standard, right? National Institute of Standards and Technology standard framework, which provides not only the guidelines, but also identify and protect and detect wherever there is a recurring issue, and how do we recover from cyber incidents. And the other area which I want to focus on is on advanced threat detection and response. So energy companies should focus on investing in advanced threat detection systems, such as intrusion detection systems and intrusion prevention systems to monitor your network traffic for any kind of a suspicious activity, and also segmentation and isolation. So critical energy infrastructure should be segmented and isolated from less secure networks to minimize the risk of your cyber attack being spread. And also, wherever possible, bringing in encryption and access control, right? So encryption of all your data, both in transit, rest, and encrypted, can protect your sensitive information from all your unauthorized access. And additionally, implementing a strong access control mechanism like a multi-factor authentication or a role-based access control could limit some of these activities. But regular vulnerability assessments and doing your penetration tests, identifying wherever there's an incident response and recovery planning, and collaboration of your information sharing. So significant investment in your cybersecurity R&D could evolve ongoing investments which is going on, and also which could help in developing new technologies and strategies for protecting your energy assets. This includes, we touched upon on the artificial intelligence and machine learning, which could enhance your threat detection and also your response capability. So education and training around this would actually help and train on the cybersecurity practices, which is critical to reduce any kind of a human error, and which could often be the weakest link in your cybersecurity defense. So digitalization and decentralization of your energy assets would bring significant benefits, right? And it could also increase the risk of cyber attacks with potentially devastating impacts, and safeguarding this could be one of the areas we should definitely look into. And it could also help and how industry can protect its critical infrastructure, ensure a reliable supply to all, and maintain the public trust in face of the evolving cyber threats. So this is what I would want to sum up on the cybersecurity for our energy systems. Sujit.
Yeah. So yeah, given the kind of climate changes that we are seeing across the world, across Indian cities, I mean, all of you are in a space that is so critical to not just India, but the world. And really good to hear that India is doing so well in some of these spaces, some really good research now happening. And as Sanjay said, hopefully we can use our young population. We have a window of 10-15 years where we can potentially develop some great solutions for India and the world, and sort out some of these big climate issues that we have to confront. Thank you all so much for a great discussion, Sanjukta, Sanjay, Bragadesh. Really nice having you on this platform. Hope to see you again sometime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sujit. Thank you, Akhil,
Take care.
Bragadesh, and Sanjukta ji.